My name is Julie, and I just wanted to share something that was really life-changing for me. So here it goes. Especially if you're into New Age or coming out of New Age and just facing the reality of the world and um, what actually exists. I hope that this will bless you and bring some peace into your life. Because it has for me. So here it goes. I'm just so happy right now to share this. Um, I've put it off for a really long time, and just today I feel like it needs to come out. So here it goes. I was not raised in, I wouldn't say any kind of religion. My parents would have identified as Catholic or something along those lines, but I mean, I didn't know much of anything about God. They never went to church, so it was just kind of like a title. I always saw religion as just something, made by men, and it didn't make a lot of sense to me. And I identified as atheist for a long time, and then I kind of went into agnosticism because just looking around the world and how beautiful everything is and at the perfect order in nature and in our bodies, it was really hard for me to think, there's so much intelligence behind this. How can nothing actually exist? How how did this all just come to be out of nowhere? So that really questioned uh, my, atheism belief. So I just kind of went into agnostic and I said, I don't know. How can anybody know? Maybe so, but I have no idea what actually exists or how, everything came to be. So fast forward, I get into New Age, and I don't think anything of it. I get into it because a friend recommends like these almost like hypnosis videos for relaxation, and I thought, oh, that's awesome. I want to try like anything new um, that sort of thing. So I thought, okay, let me try it. So I started listening to these binaural videos on YouTube, and they were mostly like these weird sounds, and it kind of sounded like chanting, and I can't even describe it. It's like a mixture of sounds, and sometimes I would fall asleep listening to it. I would listen to it for hours, and I would meditate while doing this. And what ended up happening is that I would go into these trance states, and I started experiencing things that were just, they were not they really shook my worldview, because even though I had kind of left atheism, I wasn't at the point where I was like, okay, a spirit world exists or anything of this sort. It really, really kind of started tearing apart the fabric of everything that I believed in. So, um, fast forward as I keep diving into this, because now it's like I've opened a door to realizing that something exists that I had no idea could even exist, and I want to know everything about it. So I went almost into like an obsessive state of figuring out what is the truth. Like, now I need to know because obviously what I've believed has been wrong all my life. So I went deeper into this new age stuff, like chakras, and I had like what they would call a spiritual awakening, like visions, and um, I would have knowing, like I guess I was channeling uh, entities, and I would just have this knowledge dropped of just things I had no way of knowing about other people. And so I just started going deeper and deeper and deeper into this, but it got out of control very quickly. So I started going into more trance states, and it's almost like my personality started to change. So I've always been like a very bubbly, happy person, and I went into this like apathy that nothing mattered, that I started forgetting like the things that were important to me. And of course, at this point, I didn't think, demons don't exist. Like, I don't know what's going on, but I couldn't explain it. But I didn't think it was anything like that at all, until I started waking up at 3 a.m. every single day, every single night. and it was terrifying. Like, the things that would happen shook me to my core, to the point where I thought I was pretty much traumatized at the end of this, and I'm getting teary just thinking about it because it was really terrifying. And I thought I was losing my mind, and that was even scarier because I didn't know what was real anymore. I thought, okay, I'm turning into a crazy person, until I came across so many people that had experienced the same thing, and it kind of brought some relief. And then I even saw studies that the CIA put out about people that listened to these frequencies and then opened themselves up to like the spirit world, and they were going through the same thing. So reading that, it gave me some peace of, okay, I'm not crazy, these things are real. But what I experienced was so evil that it shook me to my core, because I didn't know such evil things actually existed. I mean, I would wake up at 3 in the morning being choked. One time my dogs saw whatever it was, so one pooped himself because he was so scared, and they jumped off the bed, and their gaze is, I have 2 little dogs, and their gaze just followed, this entity as it left my room, and both little dogs followed it, and they sat by my bedroom door just looking out into like the dark living room. So I knew then also, I'm not the only one that's seeing this stuff. They can see whatever this is too. And so as this is happening, I keep waking up at 3 a.m. and I start leaving my body, and it was involuntary, and that's when I really started freaking out, because I knew I'm not in control of any of this. Something is happening and I have no control. I was literally being taken out of my body, and there was one night I woke up and it's as if whatever entity was coming out of me. I can't describe it. He was screaming, but it was me, but it wasn't my voice. It was the voice of a man. And when he came out of me, I stopped screaming, and then I could hear him audibly outside of me. And that was the night that my dogs also freaked out. Then there was another night, and this was the final night that I left my body, and I told myself I'm never getting into these things again. I'm never listening to these frequencies. I'm never even meditating. I'm just not interested in whatever this is, because it's terrifying. The last night that I left my body, I went to a very bright place. It was involuntary again. It happened around 3 o'clock in the morning. I just woke up, and suddenly I knew I was a spirit. I knew I was going somewhere. It's like I had no connection to my body again. And I couldn't open my eyes. I wasn't allowed to open my eyes, and I don't know why. I just knew it wasn't something I can do. And I felt that there was somebody with me, and I felt almost as if, like, I was told, but not in words. I just knew that I was going to be okay, that I was not going to a bad place. But still, like, a little part of me was so nervous, because I just thought, I want to be in my body. I don't want this to be happening. I want everything to go back to normal again. So, I just went to a very bright place. That's all I know. Even though my eyes were closed, it's like when when you're at the dentist and that brightness is right in your face, and you just see, like, through your eyelids, you can see all the little veins, and you can see that there's so much light, but your eyes are closed. And that's exactly how it was. I just knew there was so much brightness in this place, and I could hear people around me, and it's like they were worried, but their voices were very soft, and they sounded very nice, and it was in a language I couldn't understand. And all of a sudden I start hearing these footsteps, and everybody gets very quiet, and the footsteps are the only thing that you can hear, and they're getting closer and closer, and they're so loud. It's like this place is empty, even though I know there's people there, but I just hear the echo so clearly. And then as the footsteps finally get close, I'm thrown back into my body, And in that moment, whatever was in my body had to leave. And well, that terrified me, and I said, I don't know what that was, I'm never doing this again. I'm just not meditating. I'm just closing this door. I'm never gonna look back at this again. Whatever it was, I'm not even interested anymore. I don't want this to ever happen to me again. So once I decided I'm not gonna meditate, I'm not going to do what I was doing, I am still attacked every single night around 3 a.m. And I told my mom at one point, like, you need to take me to the hospital, or you need to take me to an exorcist, or I don't know what needs to happen, but something is really wrong. So it was physical attacks that were happening, and also like my heart would just go to I've never had like hypertension or anxiety. I've never had these kind of issues. And my heart rate would suddenly take off, and it would be for like a period of 15 minutes where it would just be so fast, so like felt like it was coming out of my chest. And then all of a sudden it would drop just like that, and I would be at total peace again, and then it would start again, within a couple minutes. So I couldn't understand any of this, and at one point I just thought, I'm gonna pray, because I've gone through everything that I could. I don't know how to solve this myself. I don't even know what exists. Obviously some kind of spirit realm does exist, and I'm just gonna pray. And I had heard about Jesus, years ago in my childhood, and also when I was growing up in high school. A girl invited me to her church, and I went a couple times, and I remember I didn't believe it really. I thought that's, it's beautiful, and I remember we sat down and we read parts of Isaiah, and it was about, the life to come, and basically Eden again, recreated, and how beautiful life would be again one day when all this evil is over. And I remember crying even though, I don't know, it's like something in my heart just was moved in that moment when those things were read, and especially because I went through a very hard childhood. So I guess just to imagine that peace, I don't know what happened in that moment, but I remember I cried. But I still closed the door to that, even in, I was probably 17 years old. And I still closed the door, and I went back to, just living my own life, and then went into the atheism thing and ended up here. So I thought, in that moment of desperation, let me just pray to Jesus. Let me just see if this is the solution to anything. So I prayed, and I'm going to be 100% honest, I wasn't fully, my heart wasn't fully into it. I was so confused with what was real, and nothing really made sense to me in that moment, that I prayed in such desperation, but at the same time, I had so much unbelief, like, what am I doing, is this even real? But I still prayed, and the incredible thing was that everything stopped. Everything just stopped. I had this peace that I could sleep every night again, and nothing attacked me at 3 a.m. I didn't obviously meditate or anything like this again for a very long time, because I did go back to it. So this experience still scared me so much that I closed the door to it all. I went back to living my regular old life, just closed the door. And honestly, I think I was traumatized just by the attacks, that I didn't want anything to do with it. I didn't want to know, until about 2 years down the road. I think it was before all this COVID stuff happened. I don't remember the exact timeline, but it was close to this time. So as time goes by, I have this burning question inside of what is real. I can't ignore it anymore. I've been scared to meditate or do any of this again. And like a test, I guess, did I go crazy? Is Jesus real? What actually what actually happened in that time? So I decide I'm gonna meditate again, because yeah, instead of reading the Bible or something, or I don't know, getting a second opinion, I just thought I'm gonna prove to myself that either I went crazy and none of that was real and it's not gonna happen again, or I'm gonna do it again and the same thing is gonna happen, and I'm really gonna have to find out, is Jesus real? So I started meditating again. I was still a little scared, so I would like have this positive thinking all the time, and because supposedly in New Age, that's the thing that works. Evil doesn't exist if you think it doesn't exist. So that's not that's not how it works. But so I would just go into these meditative sessions with so much positivity and just thinking love, love, love all the time. And these things still started happening. And the incredible thing is that people started being used by these entities to come give me messages. So in that moment, I knew this is real, the spirit realm is real, and they use people. And I don't know if these people know that they're being used, or if it's something subconscious, but I would have people deliver me like messages. I got very into numerology and these kind of things, and random people would come into my work and give me a sticky note with like 888 or whatever number had my fixation at that moment, because I thought, maybe these entities are trying to talk to me. They're trying to, maybe I'm speaking to like another parallel universe. I had no idea what was going on. So I started seeing that, okay, people are being used. This isn't in my mind. This isn't something that I could come up with. People are literally being used by these things, and I can see that it's real. And wow, that was really shaking. So I cried a lot one night, and I cried to God, and I said, I know that you're real. Because if all of this evil exists, then something so good must also exist, because we exist. Animals exist, like the beauty in nature. But why would you make it so hard for us to find you? Why would it be this hard? Why didn't I know about you when I was born? Why don't I know you? And it's like I had this knowing in that moment that just said, grab a Bible. And that's the thing I had rejected most of my life. I just thought, this is a man-made book. There's nothing to it. If I was going to believe in a God, I thought that's probably not going to be it, because I had so many misconceptions about the Bible. But it was something I couldn't shake, that I knew, like deep in my heart, I need to grab this and I just need to give it a try and read it. So I did, and I opened to the book of Matthew. And in the book of Matthew, Jesus is teaching. And all my life I've thought, I'm a good person. I try to do good. I'm positive. Like, I don't try to hurt others. I try to be good, just like most people. So, but when I read his teachings, I saw I'm not so good, because his teachings, his standards are so high and so perfect that if you don't forgive someone, that's not good. You're not a good person. If you've lied, if you've stolen, if you've dishonored your parents, even if you've hated someone, that is basically the root of murder. So we are murderers when we hate somebody. And when I read, I don't have the grace that Jesus does to present these things, but when you read his teachings, it is something so powerful that they shake you. They make you really question, okay, there's so much authority behind these words and so much truth, and we know that it's true because it's our conscience. So when I read this, it's like, this stuff is ingrained in me, and I know it's true because my conscience is already telling me that it's very true. So I saw for the first time that I'm not such a good person. I'm not as good as I thought I was, because I can't meet up to God's standard of this perfection. And I saw for the first time that I'm a fallen being, just like the Bible says, that we fell at one point, and there's so much evil in the world because we live in the flesh. We put ourselves first before anything. Look around you. Even this me culture is just putting the self on a pedestal. Even if they say, destroy your ego, it's not true. If you look at what the culture really is, it's all about you. It's not about being selfless for others, and that's what Jesus taught. And then I flipped to the book of John, and I didn't know who Jesus was. I just thought, he's a historical figure, he was a teacher. I know he existed, there's like no debate on that. It's just, who was this guy? And I read the first few sentences in the book of John, and it said, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And then you go a little bit further, and then it said, man, I'm gonna mess this up, but the Word became flesh and made his dwelling among us. And I cried because I believed it. And something incredible happened in my life. I didn't even understand what this was biblically. I didn't know that much about the Bible, but I received the Holy Spirit from that moment, and it's like I woke up the next day and I was changed. I was not the same old Julie. It's like my conscience had leveled up times 100. So things that had never bothered me before, suddenly I knew I shouldn't be doing that, or that's not okay. And I decided to follow that. And in the first few days of that experience, I had to learn to trust God, because it was such a foreign concept to me to actually be in touch with somebody that's not here, that's not physical, the creator of the universe and of everything. And that was so foreign to me that there was one day I got locked out of my house, and I was cleaning my house, and I had my car's spare key out that I usually have put away, and there was something in my car that I needed to grab, so I grabbed the keys and locked the door. And then I realized I grabbed the wrong set of keys, so I'm locked out of my house. I'm all sniffly, I'm sorry. So I'm locked out of my house, and I end up in my car, and my roommate is not gonna be home for hours, and I had locked my phone inside the house. So I barely have gas. I mean, all the wrong things that could have gone wrong went wrong. My gas tank was on red. So I wait for my roommate, thinking she has 2 jobs. She's going to come in between jobs, to grab something maybe. And, then I can tell her to let me in. So that doesn't happen. I'm outside from like 12 to maybe 4. And I give up finally. I'm like, okay, I'm so hungry. I hadn't even had breakfast that day. And maybe I can just pray. Maybe I can just trust God for the first time and ask him for help. So I did that, but I didn't ask for anything specific. I just had this idea, maybe let me go to my job It's sorry, it's a little far away, but I think I have enough gas to get there, and I could order a pizza through my PayPal, and everything will be okay. And I'm sure like one of my coworkers can give me some gas money or something to get back, and I'll at least have a phone to call my roommate. Everything will be solved. So I'm heading to work, and I just pray and I tell God, you know what, whatever you want to happen, I trust you. And I just felt so good in that moment because I meant that with all my heart. I trust you, I know that you exist. And he showed me that he did in that moment. I end up getting to my work. Somebody gives me $50 for gas. They invite me to have dinner, and I'm able to use their phone and while we're eating. And I call my roommate. By the time I get home at night, the key is right under a little plant that I had. So everything worked out so perfectly. And I'm not saying this is what God is, some kind of genie. I'm just saying that because that's not how it works at all. I'm just gonna let you know right now. That was just a beautiful gift and grace of God to respond to me and say, yes, I'm here, I am listening, and you don't have to worry, but this is a good step. You need to trust me, because the world is heading into a very dark place, and you need to really start building your relationship with me. And I can just tell you that from that moment, it's been the most incredible journey. When you receive the Holy Spirit, it's like we all have this hole in our heart that all our life we've been trying to fulfill with things and with people, and everything replaces God. This hole is, and you can never fill it. You know, it doesn't matter how much you travel, it doesn't matter how much you acquire, it doesn't matter how many people you meet, it doesn't matter how many babies you have, you can never fill it. There's always something that is just this unfulfillment. Like you can never have enough. You have to keep seeking the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, because that hole is never going to go away. And that hole is the longing that we have for our Creator. And when you receive the Holy Spirit, that longing is filled. It's like your heart suddenly becomes whole for the first time, even if you didn't know that it was missing something, because I think most of us aren't even aware, we just keep seeking. But it's like you become whole for the first time, and there's this joy that just flows out from you that it's impossible like not to smile. And sometimes like I just have a song that comes out of me that's never happened in my life before. I want to sing because it's so strong that I feel this. And I can go on and on, but it's been the most incredible thing that's happened in my life. It's brought me to forgive somebody that had hurt me so much in my childhood. Like, I'm talking like sexual trauma, like very deep hurt that I couldn't get rid of. I think I tried on my own like over 10 years. I don't even know how long, and I wanted to forgive this person, but I couldn't do it. And it was like a torture to me, because every couple of months I would just mourn this again and again, and it was just like never ending, this never ending sadness that just always returned because I couldn't let it go. And when I finally knew God, I was able to truly forgive that person and even pray for them. And now even I've been able to hug that person and really forgive them. And that's a huge thing for me that I know I could have never done on my own. Not in a million years, because I had tried so much to do that. And all it took, I was praising God this one day. I just thought, I had finally trusted him. This was after, the getting locked out thing. So I got home, And I just put on, worship music, and I just thought, I'm gonna sing to you because I believe 100% that you exist now with all my heart. I have no doubt, and I'm just gonna sing a song to you to tell you thank you. And in that moment, I had the most incredible, supernatural experience. I just started bawling my eyes out because it's like this presence came and it was so strong, and all I could feel was like this love pouring into me. And I just fell to my knees and I cried so hard. And in that moment, all I could think was, I need to forgive this person because I've been forgiven of so much. And now I can see that this evil that exists in the world, it's not just people. People are also used by these entities, and they don't realize it when it's happening a lot of times. And sometimes they might even have likes that are not theirs, that belong, because these are disembodied spirits. So they do have a personality. And realizing that, it gave me compassion for the person that had hurt me, to know he's also lost the same way that I am, that I was. And who am I to not forgive him? And to finally close that door and show him the love of Christ that was shown to me. So that was life-changing also. It's been life-changing. I had that experience in December of last year, and it's my life is the greatest it has ever been, even in the middle of this pandemic, even in the middle of all this craziness. I can't thank God enough. And I hope that if you're in one of these situations where you're in New Age and you're experiencing these things, or if you have unforgiveness, or if you've always felt that hole in your heart, just seek the truth. Seek the truth, and you will find it, because that's exactly what is written. It says, seek and you shall find, knock and the door will be open to you. So don't ignore it. Look at the world around you. Look at the things that are happening right now. All this manipulation, all this evil, it's for a reason, and all of this is written to happen in the last days. So, if you get saved now, you're so lucky. You're so blessed, that God is just calling you home. And if you stumble across this and it really pulls at your heart, I just pray that the Lord will allow you to see the absolute truth and give you that joy and give you that purpose, because He made all of us for a purpose. And yeah, I just hope that it's as life-changing for you as it has been for me. Okay, that's it. I love you. Bye.